نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. We are very blessed today to have Imam Adam with us. Welcome, Imam Adam, to Darwin again, your original home in Darwin, as we like to say. I would just like to open up in a light-hearted tone. How long has it been since you've been last in Darwin?
Before COVID?
Before COVID, yes.
Yeah, not exactly, but also before COVID.
And have you found any changes in Darwin so far?
Hard to say. I want to say first, assalamu alaikum to my family. And the family is, how to say it, it is a small nation. And how I found Darwin is just like how I left Darwin, which means I have not much to say except that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings people in your life for a purpose. Some of them are to teach you, and some of them are you to teach. And this is the best benefit in our social life here. So I found Darwin exactly how I expected it. I just came home, and when you come home here, you just feel secure and
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
So Imam, I know it's been a while since you've moved to Canberra, but I'm sure a lot of people would be very interested in knowing something that you really miss about Darwin. I mean, we like to think we are a special place. So what do you miss about Darwin now that you've living in Canberra for a while now?
Yeah. What I miss in Darwin, actually I don't miss anything in Darwin because I'm in Darwin. In another word, it is physical distance here. But Darwin is my gate into this nation. And Allah used the Darwin community to fulfill my destiny. I mean, I was born in Africa in 1969 in the village Mariam was talking about. And my parents put me on a path and they told me to walk. And I kept on walking and I'm here now. And I believe this is the reason why I have to walk to meet you tonight, the way I met you before. And this community was the punching bag I trained on to become strong, if I'm strong now, which miracles they made me. And when you make something, you own it by law. For example, all this universe belongs to Allah because He is a maker. And by law, whatever you invent, you own it. So this community made me, I can say, and not because of them, I will not be any better for the wider community of Australia. But I miss the people, I miss the place, because once you have heart, you have the right to love. And I love this place because it was my gate into this nation.
I think we would all join in saying that we do love you from the bottom of our hearts as well, and we do miss you, even though it's interesting, we never crossed paths. I personally never crossed paths with you when you were in Darwin, but we got to know of you, and alhamdulillah, we met a couple of times, and we miss your presence in Darwin, alhamdulillah. Coming to the topic of today's discussion, together we are better leaders. As Mariam was mentioning, that this is a topic dealing with three words, I would like to say, leadership, Islam, and women. That's the theme that we're working towards, and how all of these things can work towards in helping all of us become better leaders. So to open up the discussion, I would like to ask you, what is the Islamic concept of leadership? What does Islam tell us about leadership?
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So leadership, Islam, and women. I can say all of them is like 3 in 1 or 1 in 3. What is leadership? Leadership to me, it is the matter of having people look up to you and gain confidence and hope. If you are in control, we are in control. This is a true leadership. Get the people look up to you and gain confidence, because leadership represents the head. And when the head is trustworthy, the rest of the body will function. And the head has to be brilliant, so So leadership is about connecting. Regardless how brilliant your head could be, if it's not connected to your body, it is useless head. So leadership is a matter of making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. We call that a long-term leadership. Some people can be a short-term leadership. Once they lead, they are there. But once they don't lead anymore, also, they are dismissed from the heart of the people. And the first responsibility for a leader is to define reality. If you have a reality and a vision, because the most important ingredient in leadership is the vision. Define that and then encourage people to adapt it and say thank you to them. And in between, a leader gets a servant. The ayah the Shaykh has recited, it gives us a hint to the beginning of true leadership. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا. So all you who believe, be truthful when you say I fear Allah. And this word, even Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam was told to fear Allah. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu taqillah. O Prophet, fear Allah. Guard your duties towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Umar bin Khattab had a personal religious guide. And Umar told him, whenever you see me deviating, hold me hard from my clothes and shake me hard and say to me, Ittaqillaha ya Umar fa innaka satamut. Oh Umar, fear Allah, because one day you are going to die. So only when I'm not a candidate to be someone who will prosper, I will hate the people who say to me, fear Allah. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُ اتَّقِ اللَّهِ أَخَذَتْهُ الْعِزَّةُ بِالْإِثْمِ فَحَسْبُهُ جَهَنَّمْ وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرُ. Some people like that. They are so boasting and arrogant, and when you tell them fear Allah, they become using the false might in sinful way, telling you, who are you to tell me to fear Allah? So the beginning of leadership is when I can lead this amana, use this head to lead the rest of the body to where Allah wants me to lead it. So I have to lead my eyes to halal, lead my ears to halal, lead my hands and Islamize all of them. And then those people who Allah brought into my life by divine order to lead, my wife and my children, I have to lead them to Allah. This is the beginning. If I can lead myself, my family can tell me, you are successful in leading yourself to Allah, so your words match your action. So you are a worthy leader to be followed. And then the family will follow you if they are honest to their and loyal to their convictions. Because it is not a position, leadership is not a position. It is a very scary, divine responsibility. And leadership is a position Allah put people at. For example, being a father, you are a leader by default. Being a husband, you are a leader by default, because this relation is made by Allah. Allah gives people children, and Allah allows a man to marry a woman. It is all divine order, and when we do it, we have to take it fully. It started with Allah's name, it has to continue with Allah's name and end with His name. So this is the personal leadership, and once we succeed in that, and then the next one comes, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. O Muslims, you are the best nation Allah ever caused to exist. What for? For humanity. The Muslims are made for the non-Muslims. Like Musa alayhi salam was prepared to lead Fir'aun to salvation. Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam prepared to lead Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, Utbah, Shaiba, all of them and the rest of the world to salvation, but they refused him. And other people followed them. So Muslims, we are leaders by default. We know it or not. And that's why part of the dua of the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, he said, رَبَّنَا لَا تَجْعَلْنَا فِتْنَةً لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Oh Allah, don't make our lifestyle a fitna for those people who are yet not Muslims. They will say, oh, the way I live my life, the Muslims are living the same way, so it's okay. So we become a fitna because who is following us, they have the right to do so. So I don't want my life to become a fitna for the people who don't know Allah yet. So we are made for the rest of the world, and what made us candidate for that with these three conditions: تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. You enjoin people to do what is ma'ruf. Ma'ruf is what is right with our nature. You know there is a nature in all of us. As Allah said in the Quran, فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا لَا تَبْدِيلَ لِخَلْقِ اللَّهِ ذَلِكَ الدِّينُ الْقَيِّمُ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Set your face for the religion being upright. Set your face. This is istiqamah. We guide the compass of our heart, our mind, our words, and everything to the Sirat al-Mustaqim without deviating at any time or under any circumstances. Being upright, the nature made by Allah in which He created the universe, created human being. And don't change it. No alter in Allah's creation. Leave it as it is. Because if you don't want it, somebody else will. Yeah. So this is a leadership we need to focus on. And when I can lead myself, then others will think, oh, you are worthy of being followed. So, but as a Muslim, as we know that, we know it or not on the day of judgment, as Allah said in the Quran, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. Such Allah made you as a balanced nation. Why? For you to be witnesses on mankind. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam will be witness on you. How can I witness on somebody who's supposed to follow me if I go wrong? Because they're supposed to follow us. This is a leadership. So Muslims are leaders of the world. But this word is very important. I want to fear Allah as He's supposed to be feared. Ittaqullaha haqqa tuqatih. It means when I say I am a Muslim, I need to think Muslim, talk Muslim, walk Muslim, act Muslim, and be able to tell the people, yes, we are the students of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and he told all of you to follow us. This means to be truthful in our claim, be truthful to La ilaha illallah, which means I fully submit and surrender to do Allah's will by all means. And be truthful to Muhammadun Rasulullah, the only man we will follow his footsteps in everything we do is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Be truthful in saying Al-Qur'anu Kitabi, the Quran is a reference of my life, and anything against it, I'm not in that. And be truthful in saying Al-Islamu Dini, Islam is my way of life. That is the meaning of the ayah, Ittaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi, wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. If you don't fear Allah properly, we may die without Islam. This is a danger. Because the race is not to the strong or to the swift or the fast, but to the one who can endure until the end. And if we're not careful, when we say Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, keep us straight and firm on the Sirat al-Mustaqim until we die. That means something can happen. We can start good, like Iblis. He started good. He was once obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But one day he thought, look, I'm grown up. No one has a right to tell me how to live my life. Even Allah has no right, he said, of course, his lifestyle. Who dared to say, oh Allah, you have no right to tell me how to live the life you gave to me? Who will say this? Because once you sign the contract, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, your life is not yours anymore. Your wealth not yours anymore. The deal is made. And Allah said in the Quran, Inna Allah ashtara min al-mu'minina. Indeed, Allah purchased and bought from the believers amwalahum wa anfusahum, their property and their lives, bi anna lahumul jannah. The deal is made. Your life is mine and your wealth and Jannah is the return. So if I make this deal, yet I took my time and give to somebody else, or my life, it means I betrayed in the deal. So the true leadership, of course, it has to be Islamized. We read in the Quran in Surah Al-Imran, قُلِ اللَّهُمَّ مَالِكَ الْمُلْكِ تُؤْتِي الْمُلْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتَنْزِعُ الْمُلْكَ مِمَّنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُعِزُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُذِلُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ بِيَدِكَ الْخَيْرُ إِنَّكَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ تُولِجُ اللَّيْلَ فِي النَّهَارِ وتولج النهار في الليل وتخرج الحي من الميت وتخرج الميت من الحي وترزق من تشاء بغير حساب. This ayah is a roadmap in our positions in life. Allah saying here, any king ever existed, Allah made that person the king. But this king could abuse his kingdom or use it for salvation of himself or the others. He gives and he can take it. How many kings' kingdom has been taken from him by other people? Oh Allah, you elevate who you wish and debase or put down who you wish. All of this, Allah can do all of that. بِيَدِكَ الْمُلْكُ إِنَّكَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ تُولِجُ اللَّيْلَ فِي النَّهَارِ. And the end he said, وَتُخْرِجُ الْحَيَّ مِنَ الْمَيِّتِ. Have you seen something dead came out of something alive? Yes. Have you seen something alive came out of something dead? Yes. Example for this, you can say Abu Jahl. He was dead, but someone alive came out of him, his son Ikrimah. Abu Jahl was the Fir'aun of this ummah. And his son was, the Prophet called him a muhajir. Mu'minun muhajir, a believer who migrated from his dark past. And he used Rasulullah as his hiding place to move his new life and new destiny. But the father was what the opposite. The father was dead because without submission to Allah, we are dead. أَوَمَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ, which means all mankind are dead and the real birth. Not when we come out from the womb of our mother, but when we come from the womb of kufr and jahiliyyah and non-Islamic life into Islam. This is our true birthday. And no wonder why Sa'd bin Mu'adh used to say when people ask him, how old are you? He say, I'm 7 years old. How come? You are 37. He said, no. The first 30 years of my life, I was led by shaitan, by my low desire. I don't count that. That is against me. But the true age of mine is from the day I submitted to Allah's will and be honest about it. And that was only 7 years. And within 7 years, he made the heavenly creation miss him when he died. And when he died, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لَقَدْ اهْتَزَّ عَرْشُ الرَّحْمَنِ لِمَوْتِ سَعْدٍ. When Sa'd died, the throne of Allah shook. How? We don't know. We don't know what is the arsh. We don't know how Allah is. So we take it as it said here. It means the heavenly creation made some noise. Someone important on earth died. He made this in 7 years only of Islam. I am 53 years old. I wonder if I die today, what will shake? Forget about in the heaven on earth. But this man, he is so loyal to his conviction and he made it. And he made the malaika come down to participate in his janaza and carry his body to the grave. This is a true leadership. Saad led himself well. Within 7 years, he made it. He succeeded in this leadership because, as the Quran said, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. There is a wicked leadership in me and good one as well. Which one will win the fight? The one I feed. If I feed the God-fearing part of me, it will win. And then I will become a pure soul and a pure spirit for myself and for humanity. But if I feed the other part, my knowledge, my influence, my fame is only to serve the shallow part of life. When people who live for dunya and maybe they got their fame and everything, but they go back to Allah bankrupted in good deeds. And that's what the Imam was reading in Maghrib Salat. Believe me, I don't know how to say it, but if you can do your best to learn Arabic, it will help a lot here, because to really get the Quran, I know it is easy to say this, but not easy to learn Arabic here. When he was reciting in Salat al-Maghrib, subhanallah, in the first rakaya, وقدمنا إلى ما عملوا من عمل فجعلناه هباء منثورا. Can you imagine somebody who lived in this dunya and achieved a lot of achievement? ما عملوا من عمل, but none of them was amal soleh. It was solely for the temporary part of our existence, the dunya. But then in the hereafter, it is huge, but it will vanish. Just like something with no weight will go with the blow of the wind. And then he said in the end, الملك يومئذ الحق للرحمن وكان يوما على الكافرين عسيرا. The true kingdom, the true leadership and power and decision making on that day only to Allah. It is the most difficult day to a kafir, because what they lived for was for dunya, and dunya is destroyed. And if your happiness was only with dunya, the beginning of our misery will start. So when you talk about leadership and Islam, I mean, both of them, Islam is a leader by default, and Muslims supposed to lead the world to where Allah wants them to be. But how can I lead if I don't know the way? I will never claim to be a doctor. And if I do, you will walk out of this hall. Why? Because you know I am not. He can claim that. And he deserves to claim that because he is a doctor. We don't dare to take a title that touching a human destiny physically. We don't dare to do that. But then how can I dare to take a title that touching human spiritually and then I'm not good at it? So to me, when I say I'm a Muslim, it means what being a Muslim means. There's something we need to know. And how to know that? Islam started with education. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read, study, research, find out, discover, educate yourself, grow. And when we do that, what is the end of the same surah? Fasjud waqtarib, which means true education will put you into sujood. You will surrender to Allah. And the Quran confirmed that. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. I can say, I fear Allah. I fear. Do you really? You don't even know Allah. How do you fear Him? To know Allah, we have to study about Him. And that's why He gave us 2 books. The open universe, which we call science, and the closed universe, which is the Quran. And we need to read both to understand. Educate the mind and educate the heart. And without it, we educate our heart many times. We read the Quran with our heart and love it with emotion. But in our mind, we don't know nothing about the Quran because we don't study it. So there are 3 levels to deal with the Quran. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام said, من قرأ القرآن. Anyone who reads the Quran. And there are 2 ways to read the Quran. From the hard copy, open the Quran and read, or from the soft copy, memorize it. But it's still in the reading process. Man qara al-Quran wa ta'allamahu, and then study the Quran and learn it. And what does that mean? I know how to read, but know what is the meaning of what I read. And when I know the meaning, and then the hadith continue to say, wa amila bihi, and act upon it. This, the Quran start to give fruit now. Education, we understand it, and then we act upon it. What will happen? Ulbisa walidahu yawm al-qiyamati tajan nuruhu kadaw shams. The parents of that person will be honored on the day of judgment with a crown which is brighter than the light of the sun, and special clothes that never exist in dunya. And these parents will say, "Oh Allah, what did I do to deserve this?" And the answer will be, because your child took the Quran. He didn't say you read the Quran, he took the Quran. When you take something, what does that mean? It becomes you. But sometimes we read and we get information but no inspiration. We call that information. We can't get it from the school there. As we know, we are formed by Allah, deformed by sins. Sins can make us look ugly. Maybe still outside look good, because the mirror doesn't tell us the truth about ourselves, because the mirror cannot see inside, only we can see. So Allah formed us, but sins will deform us. And then the environment conforms us, schools informs us, hardship reforms us, and divine teaching, the Quran, transforms us. If you want to be transformed, read the Quran, study it, and follow it. You are bound to become reformed. And that's why Umar bin Khattab, he was a bully, a giant, hate Islam, you name it. But after he read the Quran, he became the crying man. He became the one, when you tell him, Umar, ittaqillah, he becomes shaking. This is Umar bin Khattab. Because the Quran, because he accepted. He was against it because he didn't know. But once he will become educated, he became very humble, tough, but in the truth here. This is the true leadership. Umar led himself into Islam. It is our responsibility. Khalid led himself into Islam after a long debate with himself and a lot of damage he caused. In the Battle of Uhud, Khalid made every Muslim family cry because everybody lost somebody. Khalid made Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam cry tears and make decision out of emotion because of what happened to his uncle. Khalid made Muslims in the Salat. Can you imagine? Surah Al-Imran mentions many verses talking about what happened in the Battle of Uhud. And Khalid became Muslim later. And he was in the Salat al-Fajr behind Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam was reciting this surah, talking about the events of Badr. And Khalid is standing behind him. And one man in his right side, that man's brother was killed by Khalid. And one in his left side, that man's father was killed by Khalid. I know this Quran talking about that, and Khalid between them, they didn't hate Khalid. They loved him because he made a history that they never forget, but that's what Islam does. Transformed him. And the Prophet didn't only stop like that, he gave him a title no other Sahabi had. And what is that? He gave him, you are the sword of Allah. You are the sword of Allah. This is the real leadership. I want to lead myself to where Allah wants me to be. And then lead whoever Allah put in my responsibility. So being a husband or being a wife, not our own decision. Allah made this way to promise that human race will continue. And when we take it, we have to go through it in the way Allah organized the leadership. Not a position, but it is a divine and scary responsibility. And then Islam. What is Islam? I mean, I just talk about a bit about leadership, and you stop me anytime, okay? I know about Islam. What is Islam? Islam is the last component of a religion with no birth record. Some people think Islam started in Mecca. Wrong. Islam started from the beginning of the existence of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever Allah created first was a Muslim. The universe, all are Muslims. And we shared that ayah yesterday in Maghrib Salat. Alam tara anna Allah yasjudu lahu man fi samawati wa man fil ard. Don't you know it? Don't you see that? Everyone in heaven, on earth, they prostrate to Allah and submit fully. Wa-shams, wal-qamar, wal-nujum, the sun, the moon, and the stars and the planets, the heavenly great creations, they all submitted. And then it came to earth. Wal-jibal, the mountains, wa-shajar, the trees, wa-dawab, and any living thing stepping on earth, of course including the birds. Because the Quran said, يُسَبِّحْنَا وَالطَّيْرُ صَافَّاتٍ. Even the birds are praising Allah. وَكَثِيرٌ مِّنَ النَّاسِ. And many people among the human, but some people don't. وَكَثِيرٌ حَقَّ عَلَيْهِمُ الْعَذَابِ. Some people, they decided to lead a rebellious life. They submit, but not to Allah. They may submit to entertainment, submit to fame, money, submit to men or women, submit to government, to society. But Allah, you are not that great, I don't submit to you. But we still saying, Allahu Akbar, Allah comes first into my life. Allah is the center, but in the real life, Allah is the last in the list. This is a disaster and the curse of life when we cannot lead ourselves at least to the salvation, the minimum. Forget about leading others. So Islam is the complete submission to do the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, regardless who you are. Innal muslimina wal muslimat wal mu'minina wal mu'minat wal qanitina wal qanitat wal sadiqina wal sadiqat wal sabirina wal sabirat wal khashi'ina wal khashi'at wal mutasaddiqina wal mutasaddiqat والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات. This is a list Allah made. This and this, male and female. It means we don't have credit in our gender. Be a Muslim, male or female. Be a mu'min, male or female. Be an obedient. Be truthful. Be a donor, donate. Have khushu inside you. Guard your chastity. Remember Allah alone, male or female. This is a true leadership, start from within. And when I can lead myself, the rest of the world will say, you are worthy of being followed here. So Islam is the sun. Islam comes when everything else fails, and we can see the darkness mankind are living in now because they hijacked it, the only true one religion, and cut into so many names to run away from the true teaching and the true way of life every human is supposed to submit to, which is Islam. Ibrahim alayhi salam was a Muslim, Adam alayhi salam, and everybody. But now, for the sake of propaganda, we have to accept that there are so many religions, and you don't see the word religions ever in the Quran. You never see this word in plural. You can say, Inna Deena Inda Allah in Islam. You're talking about deen, there is only one. And what is that? Islam. What is Islam? Complete submission to do the will of Allah. Every prophet did that. Another ayah. وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. فَلَنْ, anyone who adopts a way of life other than Islam, it will never be accepted from that person. And on the day of judgment, وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ, will be among the losers. There is not so many religions. And Ibrahim did not say, I came with three religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. No, he was a Muslim. And he was united in himself. And we all claim him. Why don't we live up to his deen? Hanif, which means Tawheed in its true purity. Not left, not right, straight. And then Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam was told, follow Ibrahim. ثم أوحينا إليك أن اتبع ملة إبراهيم حنيفا. Oh Muhammad, we inspire to you to follow the deen of Ibrahim alayhi salam. What was his deen? It was Islam. So that is the Islam that is worthy for us to live. Without Islam, it is not worthy to live even 1 second in this dunya. For what? If somebody asks me or you, tell me one thing make you love this dunya, what is it? If you mention anything, it will be vanity, because coming to the end. As I said yesterday, beautiful face will age, perfect body will change, but a beautiful soul will always remain a beautiful soul. How to make my soul beautiful? To fear Allah, haqqa tuqati, to be a Muslim and fulfill my destiny. And I cannot do that unless I educate myself and lead myself through education into that. And that is the true leadership. To lead, we have to know. And when we don't know, we cannot lead. I can't even lead my eyes to look what is right, my ears and so on. And then women. I just want to make a bit of everything, and maybe through a discussion we can. I can say when you talk about women, the way Allah described women in the Quran, Allah described her like the earth. He said, Nisa'ukum harthul lakum, fa'atu harthakum anna shi'tum. You know, the woman is like the earth. Everything important coming from the earth. And she is the source of the human existence. The woman is the only human Allah used her body as his workshop to fashion the human being. And we progress inside her. The woman is the only human being that carry another human in her. The only human being have 2 hearts in her. And see the way the Quran described, ما جعل الله لرجل من قلبين في جوفه. Allah never made for a man 2 hearts inside him. He didn't mention the woman. Why? If Allah said, Allah didn't make for a human being to have 2 hearts inside. The enemies of the Quran will say, wrong, because a woman have 2 hearts inside her. Her heart and the baby's heart. And look at the balance. I mean, I don't know how to say about women. I mean, we talk about a woman, you know you're talking about? You're talking about your mother. You're talking about your mother. The one is a key for you to go to Jannah or not to make it. We're talking about the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowing that the hadith is da'if. The hadith da'if saying that when your mother die, Allah will say, now you go wrong, I will pay you cash. It's not hadith, sorry. I'm just getting the lesson out of it. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do something wrong and Allah will not punish us, because the mother will feel bad if I'm in a bad shape. So due to their feeling, we get away with things in our life. But when the mother is dead, you do anything, no one there anymore to cry for you. So be careful here. But just for the sake of information, it is a hadith da'if. But the value of the mother, I don't know how to say. I remember Jabran Khalil Jabran, one of the Lebanese philosophers, he said, Wajhu ummi, wajhu ummati. The face of my mother is the face of my nation. The facade of my mother is the facade of my nation. It means I will be as my mother prepared me to be for the world. It means a lot. So when we talk about the woman, we're talking about the one a man cannot live as a man without her. Imagine if Adam was to wander on this planet alone. There is no future for the human race. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to perfect Adam alayhi salam, he brought Hawa. And this is our nature. So it is my nature to have that feeling towards Hawa. That means I'm normal. If I don't, something not right. And we're living in a world that sense is dying. And that is a result of when we dismiss God from the public square of life, nothing will remain normal anymore. Once upon a time, you can look at a boy and say, this is a boy growing into a man. You can look at a girl and this is a girl growing into a woman. And they grow up into that, they get married. And when they do that, this is a promise, human race will continue, but we live in a very difficult time now. And we are told never to give up and never seek approval from outside. Once you are tempted to look for approval from outside, you have compromised your integrity. Our approval comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We like it or not, this is our homework. The people like it or not, I'm sorry, but I have to tell the truth that may make you cry, but I will never lie to you and make you laugh. Because in the end of the day, we're going to go in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again back to leadership here. But with the woman, as we say, close with, woman is full of two people, and any real man live to provide and protect these four ladies: my mother, my wife, my sister, and my daughter. And if we fail to do that, we don't deserve the title man. It's not a gender. Male is a gender. And any woman can give birth to male, but men are born through the storms they walk through in their life. It is a title we grow up into. The same thing with women. Female is a gender, but to become a woman the way Allah intended when He created Hawa, it is a title you grow up into. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us lead ourselves, men into manhood and women into womanhood, and then Islam, of course, will be the reference for that. With Islam, we will be able to be successful leaders, to be successful women, and position later will be given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No man has a right in this dunya to put a position for women. Woman position is put by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if I say I am the Imam, and I want to tell the sisters today, you go in front and lead the men in the salah, they will say, you know what? Allah put us in our position before you exist. We know it is ibadah, not a political leadership. Once we mix politics with religion, we lose the spirit of the religion and compromise to please somebody's desire who doesn't really care. But Islam is a complete submission to do Allah's will, and we become disciplined. And discipline is when you do what needs to be done, even if you don't want to do it. Discipline is when you do what is necessary before you do what is nice. Many people go to do what is nice for them, but they don't know what is necessary. But to say again, talk about women, I don't know how to say it, because it is my mother. She shook hands with me with her left hand because she didn't know. When my father decided to send me from Africa, from the village, and from that farm, my father looked at me, said, look, oh, we have to manage to get you a shoes. You cannot go overseas without shoes. The first time for me to wear a shoe is when I was 12 and I was to go to Syria from the farm, and I had to go and buy the thongs for me to use. No, but she shook hands with her left hand. It means, I don't think I will see you again, but Allah will make us see one another. It is a Jahiliyyah way to say, look, I don't think I will see you again there. But that time we didn't know Islam much until we learned. But anyway, I mean, it is someone who you can never, ever, out of the billions of women on earth, there's only one of them you can say, this is my mom. Out of the billion men on earth, there's only one you can say, this is my father. And this is a divine relation, and we have to lead it as it is. Subhanallah, I will end there inshallah, because I'm full of emotion, and believe me, I'm holding myself. When you put me in this position, and you don't hate me yet, because talking for the last 26 years, sometimes I feel like you are repeating yourself a lot, but I really just coming here, I feel home, and you recharge me when I go back. It gets like a boosting for me again, new energy. That to get people to witness for you is very important, and that is the only benefit in our social life. Let people witness for you that you are a good human being. And I will close with this story. I mean, Muhammad Ali is one of the people who suffer racism. And he decided to write his own history and walk into it. He decided to be a free man. In the middle of the pinnacle of racism in America. And he never been quiet or calm. He wanted the world to know that I am here and I will be me. On his way to fight George Fraser, I think the name. He visited the Children's Hospital for Cancer, and he visited a young boy. And he said to the young boy, look, I'm on my way to fight my opponent. I promise you, I will beat him. I want you to beat the cancer, okay? Promise me you'll beat the cancer. And the young boy, shake his head like this. Muhammad Ali went, of course, after a few weeks, the match was done, until he beat his opponent. And he went back to the hospital to visit this boy again and said, look, I did it, how are you going? But he found the boy wearing a cap. And the boy said to him, no champ or no champion, I'm dying. I could not beat the cancer. Look at my hair. He took his half, he was bald, his hair is gone, I'm dying. But you know what? When I meet God, I will tell him that I know you. Let's ask ourselves, everybody we meet in this dunya, when they meet Allah, what they will say to Allah about us. This is very important, because the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam said, Antum shuhada'ullahi fil ard. You humans are the witnesses of Allah on earth. I have two malaika witnesses, one right and one left. One in the front and one at the back. له مؤقبات من بين يديه ومن خلفه يحفظونه من أمر الله. Their job is to protect me. Allah's order. Your job, two angels, protect me. These two angels to record what I'm doing. Imagine if me and somebody else agree, let's hide in a room and do something haram. We already have two witnesses, two malaika, another two, four, and me and you, now we're 6 witnesses, and then the place, 7 witnesses, and then Allah, how many witnesses? If we know this reality, why are you hiding? From who are you hiding? We call this khushu and true leadership. I'm going to lead myself through this dunya to Allah. No need to hide, because the people who we're hiding from, they don't have our destiny. The one who got our destiny is Allah. These two malaika and the other two, and me and you, we will witness against one another. So there's no need to close doors, because there are 2 of you, Allah is the 3rd. 3 of you, He is the 4th. Greater or lesser in number, He is always there. So when we talk about leadership, I want to lead me to where Allah wants me to be. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to be successful in our leadership, in being a father, being a mother, being a husband, being a wife, being imam and ma'mum, to lead ourselves also, and make Islam the motto of our life. I want to Islamize every bit in my life, and that is the real meaning of Islam, and help us to look after these 4 ladies, my mother, my wife, my sister and my daughter, because they are vulnerable and they need real men to provide and protect them. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair, Imam. I had a couple of questions prepared for Imam, however, there was no need for them. He's covered everything that I needed to, and I do not feel appropriate to interrupt you at all, because you covered everything that I have in store for you. Before we end though, I have a request. We've listened to your qira'ah in the Darwin Masjid, alhamdulillah, in Fajr. However, many of our sisters have not listened to your qira'ah. If you do not mind, would you mind blessing us with your recitation so we can benefit from the barakah, inshallah?
Khair, inshallah. I hope not to become emotional, because it is hard to be at home and not to be emotional, but I will try, inshallah, to get hold of it. And And I want to read, there are kids and parents in here, yeah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recorded for us the communication between a father and his son about education. And it's very important to talk to our kids because they listen here. And until now, I have 2 audio. You know the olden days audio cassette? I have 2 of them, still my father's vocal message to me. And I kept them until last year. The Walkman I used to keep to listen to it is broken, but I still have it because, we have to take what our parents say as a law in our life that we have to live up to every time. But we never realize that until they pass away, and then they are silenced forever. Once we are alive, we do our best to listen to them and record what they're saying in here because we need it later. You can close your eyes and say, look, I'm having this problem. I want to recall what my father said about things like that, for example. So this is a father talking to his son in the Quran when he was guiding him to the only successful educational curriculum, when education will become like a divine spark. Now, to trigger and spark the divine bit inside you, that's what true education does. True education always cultivates the divine spark in every human being, and the Quran is that spark. I will read Luqman's words to his son. Allah recorded that for that reason. And if you go home, you can go and read it, before the last page of Surah Luqman. Okay, you want me to read African tune or 911?
African tune.
African tune? All right. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد آتينا لقمان الحكمة أن اشكر لله ومن يشكر فإنما يشكر لنفسه ومن كفر فإن الله غني حميد وإذ قال لقمان لابنه وهو يعظه يا بني لا تشرك بالله إن الشرك لظلم عظيم ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حملته أمه وهنا على وهن وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا واتبع سبيل من أناب إلي ثم إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون يا بني إنها إن تك مثقال حبة من خردل فتكن في صخرة أو في السماوات أو في الأرض يأت بها الله إن الله لطيف خبير يا بني أقم الصلاة وأمر بالمعروف وانه عن المنكر واصبر على ما أصابك إن ذلك من عزم الأمور ولا تصعر خدك للناس ولا تمش في الأرض مرحا إن الله لا يحب كل مختال فخور واقصد في مشيك واغضض من صوتك إن أنكر الأصوات لصوت الحمير صدق الله العظيم. So this is a curriculum Luqman was educating his son, and he start with him, no matter what you study in this dunya. If you don't read about Allah, you will never be educated. So start your education with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. and then everything else will make sense. And no matter how much you know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you are not mindful of Him, Shaitan will put a barrier between you and Allah, and you think you can get away from Him. When you want to do something, don't think about the people, think about Allah. When you want to say something, don't think about the people, think about Allah. When you want to make a decision, think about Him. This is to do with your spirituality, and then with your action. Remember the most important one, do not play at all with your salat. No matter what happens, never make your salat a victim. Never say to your salat, oh my salat, I'm sorry, I'm busy with something else. But say to anything else, I'm sorry, I'm busy with my salat. And always maintain your social responsibility. Some people may do something wrong in front of you. Tell them that is wrong, nicely. They may do something right, support them. That is good, and make it grow. And respect people when you talk to them. Don't turn away when people talk to you. Look at them and respect and give your face to them. And don't walk the earth with arrogance. Just be one of the people. Don't say, I am better because of my this. No, just be one of the people. Allah loves the people who walk the earth with humility. And don't raise your voice on people. When you want to talk to someone, make the volume to the limit that they can hear you, not beyond. As we know, anything beyond what we need is a poison. This is the definition of poison. What is poison? Anything beyond what we need. It could be food, it could be anger, it could be love, it could be vanity, it could be anything. Beyond what we need, it becomes poison. So Islam always keeps us in the middle there. And then in the end, remember, when you raise your voice, people will turn away. Because if raising voice is very nice, the donkey will beat you in that. So always learn to be humble, and this is what education does. It makes parents become kind to their children obedient to their parents and teachers, imam kind and truthful to the ma'mum loyal to the imam, and then the ummah will rise again. The ummah that the imam was reading before, kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. But ummah starts from the family, and a family is a small community. And the community is a big family, but we all live together. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us and see us through and reward you for this effort you made for tonight and put it in the scale of your good deeds. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair. And thank you everyone for listening. Please join me in appreciating Imam Adam.